What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Bluffton Dynasty here on EA College Football 25. We find ourselves here towards the end of the season, and while we are not going to go to a bowl game here in year number 2, we've made good steps forward. We already improved upon our record that we had in year number 1. So we find ourselves here trying to finish the year strong, as we will try to close out Maction here, at least get close to finishing off Maction, as we'll be taking on the Akron Zips today. And Akron comes in, same record as us, 3-7, with a 2-4 conference record. And again, on paper, we should be better than this Akron team. We have a slightly better offense and a slightly better defense as well. We're 77s across the board, while Akron is slightly lower than that. But Akron is going to be at home in this matchup, and a couple of times in this season, we have legitimately lost to teams that, at least on paper, we were better than. So, that being said, we simply cannot, and I mean simply cannot, come out here and lay an egg like we did in the previous episode. We gotta come out here and we absolutely gotta mean business. So we got a good game here, making the field trip up to Akron, Ohio, the birthplace of LeBron James, as we will go to Infocision Stadium to take on the Akron Zips. And I hope you guys are excited for today's episode. If you are, make sure you go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. And without any doubt, let's go ahead and turn it over to Infocision Stadium, where Bluffton Tech will search for another MAC win in conference play.
Everyone to Akron, Ohio, and home of the Akron Zips, where the fans have been eagerly anticipating this matchup, one that could call back the glory days once seen in the old Rubber Bowl. As we wind our way toward the end of another college football season, one of the grand traditions is paying tribute and respect to those who have just poured their souls into the success of this program and honor the seniors on Senior Day. As we'll see a squad from the MAC, a team ready to put on a sleeve, they're going to score.
Alright, man, so you heard it in the broadcast. It is Senior Day for the Akron Zips, and I'm trying to play spoiler here in this second to last game of the season for us, as we're going to go ahead and get some pressure on this quarterback. That's what I love to see. Stephen Harper getting some good quality pressure on that quarterback. And now we are looking at 2nd and long, as Ben Finley, we know that he's a tough cat. We saw him IRL in that game against Ohio State, where he took an absolute beating. But with that being said, though, 3rd and short coming up for the Akron Zips. We have a chance to get him off the field here on this 3rd and 4, where Ben Finley's going to drop back. He's going to look over the middle, and he does find his tight end. Does get stood up by multiple people, but Max Wismer, the junior tight end from Missouri, he is going to be able to hang on to it. So, 1st and 10 coming from about the 31-yard line, but that being said, we are going to make this a little bit easier on the Akron Zips to pick up the next 1st down, because they do end up getting a offsides penalty on us. So we're now in a 2nd and 4 a couple plays later, where their tailback is going to make Xavier Wilson, one of our seniors, look silly out there. And instead, it's going to be 3rd and 14 coming up. We get him on a 3rd and long after a couple of short losses. Have a chance to get him off the field finally. Going deep down the field, we got our guy, and it's nearly intercepted. Could not be hauled in, but we do at least accomplish getting him off the field. Now, with that being said, if we're not careful, we could go 3 and out on our first possession. So we have a 3rd and 6 that we got to deal with, but we throw a strike over the middle to CJ Peaks. Not the best thrown ball, but hey, we're still able to catch it at the end of the day. But a couple plays later, Jalen Taylor is able to get into the backfield and get his 3rd sack of the season. And now we face 3rd and 11. Gonna try to go all out here with the 4 verts till it hurts, but we got a guy open downfield, and it's gonna be caught! Chris Gentry is able to haul it in inside the 20-yard line. 1st down for the Fighting Muskrats of Bluffton Tech. and we'll go hurry up here as we try to go and get some more yards here. First red zone opportunity for either team late in the first quarter, as we'll throw over the middle to Chris Gentry, who picks up his second catch of the day, and he'll pick up a gain of 6 on the play. Now, with that being said, 2nd and 4 coming right up here as DJ Armstrong makes some adjustments at the line of scrimmage, as Armstrong will try to throw over the middle. Wanted to connect with Chris Gentry again, but it was deflected away at the line of scrimmage. So instead, it's going to be 3rd and 4 coming up for the Fighting Muskrats as we try to pick up the first down yet again. Armstrong likes what he sees downfield. Is going to hand it off to Chris Gentry. He cannot get forward upfield, and you know what? 4th and 3, we're feeling spicy here. Worst case scenario, Akron's going to have to start inside the 10-yard line. So let's see if we can make something shake here as we send our man out into the backfield. And it's going to be caught by Ross John. And John is just going to make it. I didn't think it was going to make it to that first down. I'm not going to lie to you. So we ran a quick play here to make sure the play is actually going to count and not going to be reviewed at a later time. And then a couple of plays later, Naz Lilia, the sophomore, or not the sophomore, excuse my language, the freshman. Yes, that is right. The freshman tight end is going to be able to finagle his way into the end zone for a touchdown. And here we are late in this first quarter of action, and we're going to take a 7-0 lead here early. So Akron found some success on their last drive, but we ended up making them stall out. Let's see if we can do the same thing here on this next possession for Akron, as we'll start with Nash Berthe and company, combining to make a tackle there, but they do pick up a solid chunk of yards there. As now, 2nd and 4 coming up. Ben Finley lines up under center. Is going to try to run it on the read option. Gets out into open space. Not the fastest guy in the world, and it's Malik Moon. The sophomore corner makes the tackle. But we're already done with the first quarter of action. It's been a pretty slow-moving game, pretty methodical for both teams. But we do at least have a 7-0 lead on our hands. So with that being said, we got 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line, as we'll go ahead and they'll get the second quarter started with a play action. Ben Finley wanted to go deep, but he is not going to have any of that. That seems like it's going to be our senior, Xavier Wilson, playing in one of his 2 final college games. Xavier Wilson's going to help contribute for the sack. And now we're looking at a 3rd and 15 after the big loss. Akron trying to go downfield, wanted that deep comeback route. But again, Ben Finley did not have the time. And they're going to have to punt this ball back over to us once again. Meanwhile, 1st and 10 coming up as we are coming in on the 10-minute mark here in the second quarter, as we're making a bunch of adjustments at the line of scrimmage here to get things going for this particular drive. As Armstrong's going to drop back, he's going to just dump it off to Will Peoples. They actually covered that pretty well, even though they were in a press coverage. So instead, we are staring down a 2nd and short, and Akron is going to continue to stack the box there. I mean, they got a good 7 to 8 guys in this box, so see if we can get him with a play action here. And again, covering the deep routes well, but it does expose an easy first down as we dump it off to number 30, who that tells you how much he's used this season. He's on my team, and I don't even know who his name is, to be honest with you, even at the watchback. So with that being said, DJ Armstrong does get into open space on the next play. He does get across the 30-yard line there. As now we got 1st and 10 from the 30, as Armstrong's going to drop back the pass. We got an open receiver down the side, and we throw a dot to Javian Foreman into the end zone. Touchdown, Bluffton Tech. And we'll get another one on the scoreboard as we will go ahead and give ourselves a 14-0 lead, as we are dominating the start of this game. Loving how we came out to play here in this ball game. And it looks like Akron might be making some adjustments as well. They go with an outside run, and the outside run actually ends up being extremely effective. They're able to pick up the first down and then some. So much so is that they go play action on the next play. Got an open man downfield, and now it's a foot race. Wilson can't bring them down, and it looks like that is Porter Lindstrid that is able to be that last line of defense for us. But we got burnt like Eli Apple in the Super Bowl. And so with that being said, Akron has a chance to get some points onto the board for the very first time today. 3rd and 5 coming up for Akron as the Zips look to score for the first time today. We get pressure, but still gets it out to the tight end anyways. And Akron will score for the very first time today. That pass was made a little bit more difficult by the pressure, but Adam Pierce was still able to hang on and make that concentrated play. So we find ourselves back out onto the field again, but only a 1-score lead, as we'll go ahead and throw to the right-hand side. And wanted to put a little bit more zip on that ball. That is kind of on me, but we still get in 5 yards there. CJ Peaks is going to get his 3rd catch of the day already. And is Akron ever going to learn? They are going to try to press us again. This did not work out for them the first couple of times, and this is why you don't press us. Chris Gentry is like that. He is like that. That's another touchdown on that scoreboard. Get this bum defensive coordinator off my screen, man. That's another touchdown for the sophomore wide receiver. Arguably one of the best wide receivers in the group of 5. You heard it here first, man. Let's go. So another touchdown on the board as we take a 21-7 lead. Ben Finley almost gets hit right away, but it didn't take too much longer as Ben Finley ends up hurting himself there on that sack. So now the backup quarterback comes into the game, 3rd and 19. I'm surprised that they're going deep with a backup quarterback as Malik Moon, he's there in coverage, and he's going to lurk the interception. Let's go, baby. We were all over that as Malik Moon is able to return this inside the 20-yard line. Let's go, baby. We have a chance to really start to get this game out of hand. We could change that extremely quickly, as that was just a beautiful job baiting that backup quarterback as Malik Moon, the sophomore corner, makes them pay for it. And now an opportunity comes for us here with a chance to take a 28-7 lead potentially. The slant was well covered there, though, as we tried to get the ball out to the senior Javion Foreman, and they show his graphic up on screen for whatever reason after completion. He did hit over 6,000 career passing yards after that last touchdown pass, so I mean that's cool. I wish they would have showed it on the last drive, but it's whatever. We do have a 3rd and 10 coming up, though, so we got some work that we got to do. Let's see if we can pick it up here as we'll drop back to pass with Armstrong. I love the look on the right-hand side, and we'll get the first down with Naz Willie at the freshman tight end. Is now 2nd and goal coming up, a chance to make it a 28-7 lead, but the Akron defense, they're starting to stand tall. They're really starting to stand tall right now, chat. 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. Armstrong in the shotgun, looks over to the left-hand side. He's going to step up in the pocket, and nobody goes with DJ Armstrong into the end zone. Touchdown, Bluffton Tech. And the Fighting Muskrats get another one on the board. And I also got to give credit to where credit is due as well. DJ Armstrong immensely struggled in that game last week against Ball State, but he is playing with a lot more focus and a lot more attention to detail as well. So now it's a 28-7 lead as Akron finds itself down horrendous right now. They desperately need to find some sort of offense, because if they don't score on this drive and they give us the ball again before we finish the first half, there could be some massive trouble brewing, that's for sure. So now 2nd and 3 coming up. They throw it to the left-hand side, but it's going to be incomplete as we are able to knock it out. Faison Wilson tried to make the catch, but cannot bring it in. It's now 3rd and 3 coming up. Finley looks to the left-hand side and just ends up getting crushed there between Xavier Wilson and Nash Bertay, but still finds a way to make the catch, though. It's a first down for Akron, and Ben Finley and company gets to the line. Very next play, Finley with some time. He's got all the time in the world. He's going to send this thing deep, and oh, baby, we had 3 guys back there. None of them could make the play. Still an incompletion, but let's be real, y'all. That really needed to be an interception there. But it is what it is, though. We got 2nd and 10 coming up as Finley will drop back again over the middle. This was going to be a tough completion to be had, and we made him pay for it here. Tight end gets thrown to the ground, too. So now it's 3rd and 10 coming up as Finley got to pass this on an obvious passing situation. Can we get home? Finley trying to step up in the pocket, but gets crushed from behind. Looks like it might have been Tajay Coles and Cade Bloom that combined for the sack. Now, we did force Akron to go ahead and punt the ball away, but we also go 3 and out ourselves. So not encouraging to see at all, as now Akron will have one more opportunity before we get into the end of this first half, as that we nearly got beat deep there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Thankfully that ball does end up being dropped, because that was a big gain waiting to happen. Instead, it's going to be 3rd and short coming up, trying to drop back over the left hand side, but it's the freshman Robert Glenn who reads Ben Finley like a book, and he's going to take it back to the crib. Touchdown, Bluffton Tech. That's a freshman making a big-time play. True freshman, might I add, as Robert Glenn has put in some great work over the past couple of games. He could be an important piece for our team moving forward. And that being said, we're going to go into halftime, and we are absolutely dominating this Akron Zips team right now, 35-7. And I gotta say, guys, this is the most impressive game that I've seen Bluffton Tech play so far, at least. But with that being said, there is still 2 whole halves of football that need to be played. So we're not taking our foot off the gas pedal by any means, because I still want to try to send this thing deep. We are very fortunate that's not a safety right there, because they were coming after us, man. They were absolutely coming after us. I wanted to try to send it deep, but it looks like on a 3rd and 13, we're going to be hard-pressed to try to get any kind of big play downfield. Hang on now, though. Scott McClellan's going to make a big catch, but there's another penalty. I don't think we've had one game this year where we didn't have any holding penalties called against us. And keep in mind, I don't go with like the conservative block. I don't do aggressive blocking at least most of the time. So I mean, Aiden Kramer just has some bad habits in terms of constantly holding all the time. So now it's 3rd and 18. Not a spot that I want to be in inside the 5. We'll see if we can have a big play made for us. And hold up now. Chris Gentry has some space. Is this going all the way to the crib? Oh my goodness. Imagine that. 3rd and 18, and we get a 95-yard touchdown. And it's that sophomore receiver, man, Chris Gentry, who is a certified bad man. Certified bad man, Chris Gentry. I think he has over 200 yards receiving. We can build up upon that, because they're trying to press us again. Like, I don't know what we're doing here if you're Akron. Like, you saw us burn you multiple times at this point. And so we might have a chance to burn you yet again as Gentry goes downfield. That's caught. Not a touchdown, but it's inside the 10-yard line. Like, what are we doing here? What, genuinely? What are we actually doing here? This is absolutely insane work right now. And this is on the Heisman difficulty, mind you. So, like, I'm not doing this against like an All-American or any other difficulty computer. I'm doing this against Heisman right now. Akron is just bad. I can see why we're 3 and 7, but I can't say much because we're also 3 and 7. But we're a different 3 and 7. But anyways, we're going to try to throw it out to Scott McClellan. It would have been hilarious objectively if I threw an interception after trashing Akron. Low-key would have deserved it, but 3rd and goal for the 5-yard line here as Armstrong's going to drop back. Looks over the left-hand side. That is a dot. I did not think that we were going to be able to fit that in there, but we did. We did, in fact, fit it in there. That is Keelan Milan, who only had 1 catch in the last game, and this time his 1 catch is going to be in the end zone for a touchdown. And so after that, I did decide to go ahead. We're going to put the backups in, get them some experience, and this is a big win for us. We're able to win in a massive way. 49-17 ends up being the final score, and your DJ Armstrong ends up being player of the game as well. And we would go on to dominate this Akron team 49-17. We did not leave this game in any kind of doubt this time around. And really what I'm really proud of, you guys, is that we showed that, hey, that game that we had against Ball State last week, that was a fluke. And while it's not going to help us in terms of getting to a bowl game, I'm very encouraged by the positive momentum that we're going to have moving into year number 3. And a major reason for that is that DJ Armstrong played so much better. He played how he was capable of. He goes 17 for 22, 5 touchdown passes, threw for 350 yards as well. We were able to get a couple of the backups in as well, and we get a glimpse of maybe what could be someone that could be starting for us in the future. JoJo Thompson looked pretty good, and then Carl Navarro looked like he had a little bit of work that needed to be done, but I'm thinking JoJo Thompson could be the next man up once DJ Armstrong does graduate. For the ground game, though, we didn't get much going in our ground game, but we did get some of the players that normally don't get carries into the game. Samuel Steele came in, 10 carries, 45 yards, did put the ball on the ground, although DJ Armstrong did find the end zone on the ground, but nothing really to note here. Receiving wise, Chris Gentry, man, we know this is going to be the case. He's unstoppable, dude. He's absolutely unstoppable. 6 catches, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns as well. Multiple guys finding the end zone in this one. Vincenzo Nazluya, he found a way to score. Javion Foreman, the senior wide receiver, he's going to get a touchdown in this game as well. And then Tanner Millam is going to catch his only pass today for 5 yards, which also happens to be in the end zone too. And of course, defensively, we played extremely well defensively. Nash Berte led the team with 9 tackles, and then Xavier Wilson ended up with 7. We also did a good job getting to this quarterback for a change as well. We had 5 total sacks in this ball game. Xavier Wilson, Stephen Harper, Jake Jackson, who normally doesn't get a lot of burn, nor does Ellis Berry. These two ended up with a full sack apiece. Nash Berte and Tajay Coles did combine for half a sack. And then Malik Moon had a huge interception, was able to nearly take it to the crib. But the freshman redshirt and Randall Glenn was actually able to take this thing to the crib, take it 38 yards to the house, and it's a nice defensive touchdown as we now get ready to look forward to who is going to be our final opponent this season. Now, Chris Gentry ended up coming out here and having an impressive day. 6 catches, 260 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. He's named the MAC Offensive Player of the Week, but I want to see if he gets National Player of the Week, and he does. He actually gets National Player of the Week, chat. Let's go, baby. The sophomore wide receiver definitely making some huge waves for sure. But before we get into the final game of the season that we do have on the road, I thought it was a home game, but it's not the case. I do want to check in and check out some of the seniors that are starting on this team that will be wearing that Bluffton Tech jersey for the final time. One of them is Jackson Gregory. He's been the starting fullback on this team. Hasn't really played much this year, but, definitely want to thank him for being really such a good role model for Ross John, as Ross John has had a pretty promising freshman year. And Jackson Gregory, his mentorship is a big reason for that. We also are going to say goodbye to Javion Foreman out of Missoula, Montana. He's been our top receiver on this team, and Javion Foreman, he's been a baller for our guys. He's been one of the most well-rounded receivers on this team. Caught a touchdown that big win against Akron, and he'll also take the field for the final time as well. Also saying goodbye is DeMarcus Perkins, and DeMarcus Perkins has been one of the more consistent offensive linemen on this team. It's been a love-hate relationship with my offensive line this year, but it wasn't because of him. His consistency has set the tone for the future of this program. Do have some promising backups like Isaiah Crowder in the wings, but he's simply not the same as what DeMarcus Perkins brings to the table. Also saying goodbye is Joshua Townsend, the senior defensive lineman. is also going to be playing his last game from Oakdale, Connecticut. He's been really keeping the seat warm for John Decker IV, who could be ready to take over and make an impact in season number 3. But Joshua Townsend, I do have to give him credit. He's been making some good work happen as a good bridge player for sure. And in the middle of our defensive line, we also say goodbye to Deshaun Weeks. He's been our top defensive lineman on this team and has provided some consistency while we try to build this interior defensive line. We do also have Cade Bloom and DJ Dean that will become seniors next year, but Deshaun Weeks will be missed for sure. Also saying goodbye is Tajay Coles, who's kind of been one of those rover players for us this season. Tajay Coles is somebody that kind of played a lot of defensive linemen. He played a lot on the edge, but we also saw him as a linebacker really trying to do a little bit of everything, as next year we'll have a battle between KJ Hartley and JB Christian, who we did bring in year number 1 to kind of compete for this left outside linebacker role next year. Over on the opposite side, Stephen Harper, who had the interception as well as a sack in the last game. Stephen Harper ends up going to be graduating after this game as well. He's backed up by a couple of freshmen, so a couple position battle to watch here, as well as Ben Laney and Draymond Gates will battle for it. But Stephen Harper was certainly a solid player for Bluffton Tech. But probably one of the biggest losses that we have on this team is Xavier Wilson. Xavier Wilson, he has been really a good player for Bluffton Tech. You know, we saw it in his games, really been a captain of this secondary. Terrell Pace is another one of those guys who came in at that slot corner position, as Terrell Pace also was someone that constantly saw the field for us this year, and we constantly had to call upon him to make some big plays. And then the last senior that we have is Nico Solomon, who's been our starting free safety for us. Nico Solomon is someone that, you know, is not the quickest. You know, reminds me a lot of a poor man's Kyle Hamilton, but Nico Solomon made some good plays here or there and really has came on in the second half of this season and is going to really help with his presence in the program these last couple of years, take this program forward. So with that in mind, I wanted to jump into our very last game of the season, but I just wanted to play the moments to see if we can finish the season on a high note real fast, see if we can beat this Buffalo team, with the Buffalo Bulls also coming in at 4-7. Yes, this game probably doesn't matter in terms of, you know, us going to a bowl game. I know that, but if we can finish the season off and we win 3 of our last 4 games of the season, we can carry a lot of positive momentum going into season number 3, and I think that should absolutely matter for us, you know, trying to carry that positive momentum into season number 3. So with that in mind, we got a 3rd and goal situation inside the 2-yard line. We'll see if Nazwilia or somebody can get open here, but instead we're just gonna run up the gut for our running back Will Peoples, and Peoples gonna dance his way into the end zone. Big touchdown for Bluffton Tech, and late in the first quarter we will take a 7-0 lead over this Buffalo Bulls squad, so you do love to see that. Meanwhile, here we are with a 7-0 lead, and we have another chance to possibly extend that lead versus Buffalo. We got a 3rd and short. We're going to throw quickly over to the left-hand side, as CJ Peaks was there, able to win that route pretty well as it sets up a goal line opportunity. But we're going to make it a little bit more difficult on us here, man, as we are going to have 3rd and goal from the 7 after DJ Armstrong just took that sack. So now 3rd and goal from the 7. Armstrong trying to throw over the middle, wanted to throw it out to CJ Peaks, but Peaks could not hang on to it. And so instead we will bring in our field goal unit, make this a 10-0 lead, and sure enough, that field goal attempt is actually going to be good. We're going to be able to at least get that field goal in there. And so we will take a 10-3 lead, but with 1 minute left here in this first half, Buffalo does have a chance to try to tie things up before we go into the halftime locker room. And I'll tell you this, Buffalo is putting together quite a bit of a drive right now. Goal line situation, but we're able to hold it down the first couple of plays. Just got to keep them out of the end zone here. 3rd and goal. Looking to the right-hand side, but they throw it short. It is completed to Mark Anthony Scott Jr., but with that being said, it is well short of the end zone, as that is now going to force Buffalo to take the field goal. As now 3rd down coming up, as we have a chance to try to get some distance between us and Buffalo. You know, we're playing very well defensively, but our offense is certainly leaving a whole lot more to be desired there. As now with Chris Gentry able to pick up a bunch of yards for us, we find ourselves here in a red zone opportunity, as we'll throw over to the left-hand side. We get it out to Nazluya, and Nazluya is just so fast for a tight end. If we wanted to convert him to a wide receiver, I think he can make that transition extremely well. Just something that we want to keep in mind, because Nazluya is him, man. He is absolutely that guy, man. And we're able to get the touchdown. We have the lead, but with 3 minutes left, Buffalo also has a chance to tie it up, as that is a dot over the middle. Gunnar Gray is going to be able to fit that in there for a huge 1st down. And Buffalo all of a sudden has some hope. Gunner's going to look over to the left-hand side, as that's also going to be completed before being tackled inbounds. So Buffalo will use one of its first timeouts of the 2nd half. But that pass also sails on him on the very next play there. Porter Lindstrid, they're on the coverage. So now we're staring down 2nd and 10 from the 48-yard line. Lining up in the shotgun, you got 4 receivers and a tight end. As Gunner's going to drop back, looks to the left-hand side, and it's going to be caught for a quick completion, but not really getting much out of it. That might have been Randall Glenn there on the coverage. And now that's 3rd and 3 coming up, as they'll go back to that attack downfield, looking to try to get into the end zone, and it's going to be deflected away. That looks like it is Nico Solomon that was able to deflect that particular pass away. And now Buffalo is down to its last gasp. 4th down. If we can get a stop here, it's over, but we cannot get the stop, as a nice out route is going to be caught for a 1st down. And Buffalo is also going to have an injury timeout, so they don't even have to use any of their timeouts, because the clock starts in EA college football, regardless of whether it's an offense or a defensive-oriented player that does end up getting hurt. So 1:13 left to go. Buffalo definitely still putting together quite a bit of a drive, as now we could be in some trouble here. Throwing over the middle, but it's caught for a short gain. Goes for a gain of 6, as Gunnar Gray inching his Buffalo Bulls a little bit closer here and there. But now 2nd and 4 coming up, looking over the middle. We don't react hard enough with Harper, and Nick McMillan is able to sneak behind us for another catch. And all of a sudden, it's a goal line opportunity for the Buffalo Bulls. A chance to tie it up, throwing over the middle, and Nash Bertay able to make the tackle there once again. But Scott Jr., he's been all over the field today. 9 catches, 88 yards. Are they going to call on him one more time? No! It's dropped. Gray had the tying touchdown there, and instead it's 3rd and goal because of the drop, as we're going to try to hold it down on the 3rd and goal, looking to the right-hand side, and it's caught for a touchdown. Buffalo has a chance to tie, or if they're feeling spicy, go for the 2-point conversion as well. We'll end up seeing what the Buffalo Bulls end up deciding to do. And actually, we did not get a chance to see it because the moments skipped right past it. So they actually missed the extra point here. That's exactly what happened there. And so that's going to force Buffalo to go for the onside kick. The onside kick does get recovered by your Bluffton Tech Fighting Muskrats. And while we did everything possible to try to give this game away in the 4th quarter, we do end up doing just enough to win. And so we will finish winning 3 of our last 4 games this season. Alright, boys, so we end up finding a way to get the win here, man. It feels good. And while it wasn't our best offensive performance, and we also nearly found a way to blow it there in that fourth quarter, but thankfully Buffalo found a way to miss an extra point or two. We're not mad about it. So we're going to finish the season winning our last 3 out of 4. So carrying some momentum into the offseason. And speaking of someone that's carrying a little bit of momentum, DJ Armstrong does not turn over the ball yet again. He goes 10 for 13 for 129 yards. That being said, though, he did get hurt, and we get another taste of JoJo Thompson. And JoJo Thompson goes 4 for 11, 65 yards, but did throw a touchdown to a fellow freshman at the tight end position. On the ground, we do see Will Peoples end up finding the end zone, and he was big in this game. 21 carries, 122 yards, did find the end zone as well. He really had a huge game to end his sophomore season. Nobody really went crazy for the receivers though, but like I said, our freshman tight end, Vincenzo Nazlulia, who has been a matchup nightmare, he ends up finding the end zone in the final game of season number 2. And then the defense played pretty well yet again. This defense was led by Stephen Harper in his final college game. He had 10 total tackles in the matchup, with Nico Solomon, a fellow senior, not too far behind with 8. We did get a couple of quarterback sacks. Cade Bloom, who's going to be one of our big key players on the interior next season, he is going to get a sack this year. And then Ben Laney is also going to get a sack in this final game as well. I don't think we forced any turnovers, and it looks like we did not. But even though we didn't force any turnovers, what we did manage to do was simply find a way to win. But that is going to wrap us up here for season number 1, as even though we don't make it to a bowl game, 5-7 is certainly not that bad, especially considering that we won 3 of our last 4 games of the season. And might I add, we also did this on Heisman, so no, I did not change the difficulty at all. Next episode, we will have the off season. We will get ready to go for the off season here in year number 2, as we try to take another step forward in the following season, as we try to move forward and go and get our first bowl game. We'd love to get our first bowl game at the very least in next season. Didn't love that our season's going to end here in this episode, but a lot that we can look forward to, as next time out we will have that off season. But hope you guys did have a good one here today. If you did, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, and then also hit that subscribe button as well if you do have to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hope you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.